SFOS v21.5 brings DNS protection support directly in your firewall, adding another layer of security to your environment. Today, I'll show you how to quickly set up DNS protection, including the steps to add your firewall as a location, configure DNS settings, and set up your network devices. And lastly, I'll outline a few DNS protection statuses you may encounter on the dashboard, which will aid in troubleshooting. Note that a Sophos Extreme Protection subscription is required to use DNS protection. Also, ensure your firewall is connected to and managed by Sophos Central. Let's get started. In SFOS v21.5, you'll see that the DNS protection status is now on the dashboard, giving you immediate visibility on the service. Here, I can see that it's currently not configured. So let's quickly get this set up. As mentioned, make sure your firewall is connected to and managed by Sophos Central. This will make the later configuration steps easier. Refer to the relevant documentation for further information. First, add the firewall as a location in DNS protection so that it recognizes and monitors all requests from that IP address. In Sophos Central, go to My Products, DNS Protection, then Locations. Click Add. Enter a name and description. Then add your IPv4 address or dynamic DNS name if applicable. There's also the Add Known IPs feature, which displays IP addresses detected by Sophos Central related to your known location or environment. We recommend including all IP addresses, but in this example, I'm only selecting one. Now that my location is set up, DNS protection will recognize my firewall and answer any queries coming from the specified IPs. You can later add your own policy to block specific categories if you wish. Next, let's quickly look at the Installers section. In here, you'll see the IPs used by DNS protection. Make note of these as they'll be needed later. In addition, you can download a certificate which can be installed as a trusted root on end-user devices, which allows block pages to display correctly. Let's move on and return to Sophos Firewall. We've added new Sophos Assistant interactive guides to walk you through the new features in Firewall v21.5. I'll demonstrate that here. If you've never used a Sophos Assistant interactive guide before, when you launch one, you're given an overview of the steps and any prerequisites that must be met before proceeding. As indicated, the firewall location must first be set up in Sophos Central, which I already demonstrated, so I'm ready to begin with the firewall setup steps, starting with configuring DNS settings. Once started, the guide provides on-screen instructions. Go to Network. Then navigate to the DNS tab. As instructed, ensure that Static DNS is selected. Next, enter the IP addresses for Sophos DNS protection that were seen earlier. Ensure the DNS3 field is blank. Next, while DNS protection can resolve IPv6 addresses, this isn't required to connect, so this section can be left blank. Set this to Static DNS and ensure there are no entries in the DNS fields. Lastly, for the DNS query configuration, select Choose IPv4 DNS server over IPv6 to ensure DNS protection is always used. Click Apply to save the changes. Returning to the dashboard, I can now see that DNS protection is active. Now let's configure our devices to ensure they're also covered by DNS protection. I'll return to Sophos Assistant and select the next guide for setting up devices to use the firewall as the DNS resolver. This configures the firewall to forward all requests to DNS protection. Go to Network. Then open the DHCP tab. Here I'll edit the relevant DHCP server settings. If you have more than one in your environment, make sure to repeat the steps for each one. In my case, I only need to edit this one. Make note of the DHCP server IP. This is needed later on. Next, make sure Use Devices DNS Settings is unchecked. Then enter the DHCP server IP seen earlier. The secondary address can remain as the default DNS protection IP. Then save the changes. Once again, if you have more than one DHCP server, repeat these steps for all relevant servers. And now, all devices connected to that network segment will forward their requests to the firewall, with the DNS protection server acting as a backup. Back in the dashboard, I'll note that there's also a third Sophos Assistant guide that shows you how to create NAT rules to forward outbound DNS traffic to the firewall. This ensures users remain protected even if they can modify DNS settings on their devices. Go ahead and launch this guide if it applies to your environment. Finally, I'll cover a few warning statuses you may encounter for DNS protection and explain their meaning. This will help you troubleshoot in the event these scenarios occur. First, you may see unrecognized source. This is displayed if your firewall IP address changes and is no longer recognized as a location by DNS protection. The log viewer shows the details of the warning along with the specific unrecognized IP address. To resolve this, make sure to add the new IP as a location. Next, you may see the status IP address conflict. This situation is rare and only occurs if your firewall IP address has changed and another customer has already claimed that address. Clicking on the warning again, the log viewer shows the specific details and the conflicting IP. In the very unlikely event that this conflict occurs, your firewall will stop using DNS protection, but will continue to resolve DNS queries by recursive resolution to the root DNS servers until you've resolved the issue. And that covers DNS protection in Sophos Firewall v21.5. I hope you found this useful. Check out the relevant documentation in the video description. For further assistance, view and post questions on the Sophos community. And visit Sophos TechVids for more great videos like this one. Thanks for watching.